populations. There are places and parts of the world that have saints that are patrons of those places or parts of the world, for example. The United States has Our Lady of Peace, quite surprisingly. And then there's the final, I guess, the wrap-up here, the transmission of the Catholic culture throughout the ages as a result of the cult of the saints. And that's, first of all, mentioned through potentia, that Brown talks about in one of his chapters is devoted to this. That's of their power, the power that the saints have, not just maybe in their miraculous intervention, the miracles that they work, but the power necessarily that their sway holds. Just them having sort of collected this following. There's power in that to sort of spread and disseminate the faith. There's also, I mean, as we've mentioned, in other ways, there are ways that those things can be taken, extremely off kilter to the wrong dimension. For example, some people get so caught up in their devotion to saints that they almost sort of pedestalize, if you will, the saint almost higher than God, making even the saint an idol, which is a little dangerous. But this was not the title of one of his chapters, but I thought it extremely important. He used the term reverencia, is of the respect due them. There's a reason why these holy persons are special or important. And then, of course, the final means to how they transmit Catholic culture is through the material culture, the relics and the shrines, as points, or not as points, but they point to the divine reality. So the material world, what we can perceptibly touch, see, and sense, points us to something that we may not so readily be able to touch, see, or sense. Just as the saints always don't point to themselves or their own virtue, they point to Christ. No saint ever was all about exalting themselves. They never wanted to, say, all right, well, look at me, I did that. They were always pointing to somebody else. In all of their writings, they always point to Christ, just like his mother does. And so, material culture, like the saints, the material culture that is of the saints, represents them in some way, points to something that's even greater than them in themselves. And so the way that I wanted to kind of conclude, there's this really long quote here, but I thought it was really beautiful. I'll just summarize what this long quote says. This quote's talking about reverentia, the respect that's due to the saints. Talks about how we honor them in celebrating their feast days, in turning to them when we're in trouble, whether that be sickness or lostness or spiritual dryness or anything like that. The way we constantly keep them aware, and the way, most importantly, that we act when we are devoting ourselves to the intercession of these saints. We realistically believe that when something good happens, maybe it was because we asked for the intercession of a particular saint, and maybe they are the ones that help to affect that. And of course, that's the formal canonization process. How do they move up in the ranks, if you will, from blessed to canonized, or from servant of God to blessed? They have to perform these miracles, and the miracles have to be attributed to the intercession. So I guess my closing question to you is, in what ways do the relationships between the faithful and the communion of saints mirror the sacramental character of the liturgies? And that's really it. I mean, I know we have a million other things to do, but that's it. There you go. Cheers.
Thank you.
Yes.
All right, let's take a few minutes, keep your head in the game, and we're going to come back through. I'm going to get you through as quickly as I can tonight. But I got one presentation. Got to get you to Constantine before the night's over, and that there's a reasonable way into that. But let's take 5 and hit the washroom. Snort a line of Coke, whatever you got to do. Knock down a Red Bull. Next time, I'm just going to bring a pot of coffee.
That's what my father Kurt did.
He actually did, yeah.
Oh, go ahead and do that on. I got PowerPoint.
Oh,
so.
okay. Did it already?
That's just wait a little bit. We'll turn it.
It'll pop. And these end up being long days.
Usually pretty good though.
And if you can imagine, there were actually poor high school children that had to deal with me every single day.
Oh, the presentation was great. I'm just that it wasn't tedious or anything. I'm just thinking.
Oh no, I know. In interest of
Well, we had summer class with Father Knight last year, and the last weekend he couldn't make Friday night,
Yeah.
so we wound up doing all day Saturday,
Until 10 o'clock at night.
like 12 hours.
Wow.
we went from 9 a.m. to 10 p.m.
Hey, by the way, somebody's got to get me his number because I need to meet him just for no particular reason, but
Here you go.
if he's a decent spiritual director,
He's flipping fantastic.
and especially if he's
And if you can catch him in town, then
Yeah.
you've done something right. He's constantly out doing like mission trips and whatnot. He goes to Guatemala. Is that where he goes to often? He's the man.
Oh, they used to take, besides the senior retreats that we go there. No, I took I take the kids from Elias there, and we would sleep there. And so we'd take, I picked the spookiest room to sleep in. You know there are rooms upstairs.
Yeah.
I haven't been upstairs. Wow.
You would purposely pick the spookiest room?
Yeah.
Okay.
We take you. We're like, okay, which room do you want? There's one guy who would pick one in the corner, front corner, out on whatever street that Delwood.
Yeah.
And it was almost like